Hi guys! You're getting ready to watch the very first episode of my new series, Life After, and I am so excited to bring this to you. I'm going to be sitting down with real people and talking about real issues. People who've experienced crazy stuff that could have and probably should have broken them, but have made it out on the other side and have gone on to live awesome lives. It's going to be funny, it's going to be weird, it's going to be serious, it's going to be moving, and this is the very first episode. If you're going to leave a comment, please try to do it with respect, because these people are going to be bearing their soul, putting themselves out there, and I don't want to discourage them or anybody else from doing the same, because it takes sharing our truth for there to be a movement in the world, for others to realize that they're not alone. So that's all I ask. Just please try to be nice. If I see it, I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna be a deleter. I don't even care. I don't want my friends to see that. I don't have any cool couches, so I literally have like my kitchen table chairs. As time goes on, if this thing works out, I'm gonna get a fancy setup with comfy couches. But for now, you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay? See you soon. Welcome. I'm just kidding. Okay, how you feeling?
Well, alright.
Good?
Yeah.
Do you feel weird?
I felt weirder.
Can you turn your chair because you're... Here, take them off. Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll feel better if you can't see.
That might be.
There won't be that much pressure.
Then nobody will know me in public.
That's perfect. Okay, so just tell me a little bit about your childhood.
I grew up Section 8 housing. We wasn't extremely poor, but we was by no means above poverty. I lived with Mom and her boyfriend. They drank and partied. And, my saving grace, I guess, as a child was my grandparents. They kind of scooped me and my sister out of the situation as much as they could. You know, I went on to repeat some of that behavior as I got older, drinking, drugs, got involved with that through, early years of high school. At the age of 15, I went to a drug rehab, got out, did not stay sober.
What made you go to rehab at that age?
I got busted selling drugs.
Sorry, yeah. If you don't want that in there, we don't.
No, that's totally fine. Yeah, no, I don't. It's
public record.
It's public record. Went on a downward spiral, smoking meth, and I kind of blacked out, wrecked a bicycle, got up and was trying to light a cigarette, and my lighter was dead because I'd killed it smoking meth. And I was just like, you know what? This thing takes everything from you. I can't even, my lighter doesn't even work. I can't even light a cigarette. And at that point, I made the decision to move with an uncle out of state and get sober. So I did. Had stayed sober for about 10 years, and in that 10 years, I gotten married. Then been separated from that wife. Joined the Army in that time period. My grandfather had been in the military. He retired, and it was kind of I want to follow in his footsteps. Sort of a patriotic sense, I guess, after 9/11.
And then, so you had a choice to go to Afghanistan?
Yeah, there's a place that you can go online and actually volunteer for open deployments, people that they're just looking for individuals or maybe 2 or 3 people to fill specific slots. The time in Afghanistan, it was never about the gunshots and stuff and the explosions, because I didn't really experience a whole lot of that. The PTSD developed, I think, just because of the high stress environment.
So there wasn't a lot of gunshots and stuff, because I don't know much about it. Was there always like imminent danger?
That was definitely the feeling. The base that I stayed on was inside of an Afghan army base, and the terrorist organizations have a very strong hold in those areas on account of extortion, kidnapping, taking their families for money. One instance, there was a guy that worked in our office that had been there 6 or 7 years, and I took him for his background check that they had to do every 6 months, and all of a sudden he popped for terrorist ties. And so that's the kind of stressors you were dealing with. You just did not know who to deal with.
That's got to make you paranoid.
Oh yeah. At some point over there, something overtook me that I was just waiting for my chance to fight. There was a hatred and an anger that overtook me. And then when I got home, I just never really could unwind from that.
I wonder if it's like a soda bottle being shaken, but the lid's still on.
That's a good way to describe it. And so when I came home, I think that's what I was trying to figure out, how to pop that top.
Right.
And I just couldn't, because I felt the pressure. I didn't know how to release it. And since I deployed by myself, that means I come home by myself. So I didn't have anybody to really process this stuff with. I actually went to the first sergeant and the company commander. It's like, hey, I need a break. I don't know what's going on. I can't deal with this. And they told me to soldier up. Be a soldier. Long story short, ultimately I ended up getting really drunk one night and trying to blow my brains out.
Prior to that, was PTSD something that was talked about? Did you know what it was?
I had an idea what it was. I did not think that PTSD was my issue because, like I said, I didn't see the combat. I didn't experience those things. It wasn't until later that I found out that PTSD can come from just the high stress environment for a prolonged time. I felt like I wasn't as good as a soldier because I didn't see that kind of combat. I didn't see those kind of things. It was just the stress level. And that was a lie that I was telling myself, and the thing that was going on internally that I really had to work through. Okay, you're not broken because of this. It's just your body, for whatever reason. This is just what you've got. I did the same things. I was in the same situation, and now I've got no reason internally to have the same issues that somebody else might have.
So you tried to reach out to people, which had to be hard.
Yeah, it was. I tried to reach out. I actually went into the VA office and they gave me the runaround. And a couple months or so later, I went back again. I was like, look, I'm falling apart. I don't know where to go. Don't know what to do. I'm drinking like a fish. I would literally drink myself to oblivion. Somehow I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be at work 10 hours a day, and then on the way home I started drinking again.
What was work? The Army or?
No, I was in the reserves. So at this time I was a service technician. I worked on robotic milking equipment, dairy equipment.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh because.
Robotic milking.
What is robotic?
Oh, you gotta look it up. You'll have to look it up on YouTube. Yeah, it's a robot that milks a cow.
Wow.
They sort the cow.
There's a lot of stuff goes on outside of Sarasota that you just
This
don't
is
know.
crazy. I need to get out more.
Yeah, I can remember times just drinking, and there's people everywhere. There's people around me. I'm in a bar, and I literally feel like I'm just looking out of this hole, and like I can see them. They're laughing. They're having a good time. And on the outside, I am, but on the inside, I'm just a disaster.
So tell me about that night.
This New Year's Eve will be 6 years. I was dating a girl. We were what I thought was pretty close. And in her defense, she did not get a healthy me. So there's New Year's Eve. She just kind of disappeared one night. New Year's Eve, said she had some things to deal with. I didn't know what was going on. In my mind, there was some other dude. And it sent me into this just rage. So I went to her house, let myself in, and I had a pistol. So my plan was I was just going to sit there and see who'd come home. In the meantime, I found a bottle of liquor and started drinking the liquor. And at some point, I'm laying there on the bed, and I'm thinking, tonight's the night. It could be over. It could be over. And I'd had these thoughts and I had romanticized them before, but I don't know, something was different. I really felt like I had what it took to do it that night, and I just kind of reveled in that feeling of power almost. As sick as it sounds, looking back on it, it was definitely dark. And I fell. I was so drunk I couldn't even walk. And I said, you know what, God, if you love me, show me. prove yourself to me. Get me out of this situation. And the next thing I remember was the shot of the gun. It was just a... I could tell I was still alive, but at the same time I thought maybe I was dead. And then I remember the thought coming, oh my God, you did it. You're dead. This is it. I don't know how I got to my cell phone. I called 911.
Where had you shot yourself?
I shot myself in the neck. The bullet went in my neck, hit me directly in the C2. It did not shatter my spine. I should have been paralyzed, I should have been moving at that point. I remember the 911 operator, what's your emergency? I was like, I shot myself. Where have you been shot? In the head. Sir, where have you been shot? I was like, in the head.
So at this point, were you wanting, like, now that you had done this, do you remember having any thoughts like, holy shit, I hope I pull through, or damn it, why wasn't I successful?
No, I really don't. I don't remember having those thoughts at all. I don't remember being scared. I don't remember being happy. There was no emotion. Honestly, I almost felt like, as cliche as it sounds, you hear people talk about they died and came back. Like, I felt like I was out of my body watching this whole thing go on. They took me to the local hospital, which is not a trauma center. They just basically stabilized me the best they could and sent me to the trauma center, which is about an hour and a half from where we live.
Did they bay flight you?
No, they did not. Their words were, there was no use. We did not want to waste the resource. So they loaded me up in an ambulance and sent me.
On a road trip?
On a road trip. They did not expect me to live, as the best explanation I got, that they weren't. And said just get him stabilized until his family gets here. There was no sense in even operating because it wasn't going to be successful. They had me in the ICU, just keeping me on life support until my family got there. And at that point, I sat up in the bed and started talking to the doctor.
What?
My memory picks back up from 9 days after. I woke up in the psychiatric ward of the hospital. I didn't have any idea why I was there. I didn't have any memory. It was like I could hear what people would tell me. No, you shot yourself. But I just did not accept that as an answer. I was like, well, if that's what you say, whatever. Day 11, they discharged me from the psychiatric ward from the hospital. So I called my family. They came and got me, and they weren't real happy because what do you do with the dude that just shot himself? I felt like my life should be completely changed. I shouldn't deal with depression anymore. I shouldn't deal with alcoholism. My life's different. And what I found was, yes, it was different, but it wasn't as different as I thought. The same struggles that you deal with, and now I'm dealing with them again. And I was not ready for that. Went to the VA and I was like, look, I need some help. And they're like, well, we'll get you in, get you some appointments. And I just, the damn process to that was just so trying. I just give up on it again. So ultimately, I slipped back into drinking.
So you were self-medicating?
Oh yeah, because I knew I had been in AA and then NA and those things, and I had been around enough people in recovery and had enough recovery to know exactly what I was doing. But I did not, in this particular situation, I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
I wasn't getting the help where I should be getting the help, whether it been the VA or just a regular doctor. So I got to a point one night where I was just like, enough is enough. Something has got to change. And I broke down and I just started crying. I said, God, I don't know who you are. I don't have the energy to continue living like this. Apparently, I don't have the energy to kill myself. I don't have the energy to live like this. Something has got to change. I got this distinct feeling that, quit drinking, quit doing the drugs, get rid of your guns, and we'll start there. I didn't have the energy to go buy the beer anymore. I didn't have the energy to go to work. I was just desolated. Was there a greater purpose for my life? Is there something? Am I supposed to speak to people who are struggling with suicide? Who are you, God? What do you want from me? Anything I thought I knew about life was gone. I'm discarding it all. And God, you just greater being, I think, was actually the words that I used. Like wouldn't even refer to it as God in the beginning. And I was like, you got to teach me. You got to show me another way. And I woke up the next morning. I just immediately started packing my stuff. The place I was living was not a healthy place for me to be at. I just moved out.
Where were you going?
I went back to my grandmother's. They're kind of my saving grace throughout my whole life. I went back there and I said, hey, look, I'm hurting. I don't know what to do. If y'all have me back, I'd like to come back. And of course, they took me back. And I knew about AA. I'd been going to AA, and I hadn't been doing that as of recently. I said, all right, well, I know that worked before. Let's try it again. So I went to an AA meeting. And I said, well, I'll go back again tomorrow. So that went on for several months. And I basically just let other people just make decisions for me. To the point, like, my grandmother would pack my lunch for me before I went to work. She'd be like, what do you want for lunch? I was like, I don't know, it's too stressful, just bake me something. Mm. And that's how it was in the beginning. And eventually I got to a spot where it was like, all right, this is doable. Just started living again, nothing, I can't say anything profound happened. Did the depression and things go completely away? No. And I finally got into the VA this time.
Well, finally!
And the reason I got into the VA is because I went in there, I walked in right beside the guy that was at the counter, and I looked at her and I said, you do not help me, I'm gonna blow this fucking building up. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I'm on edge. I said, y'all have turned me away, and I said, if you turn me away again, you're not gonna be happy. And she said, sir, sit down. Stuff started happening, phone calls started getting made.
Are you serious?
And that's how I got into the VA system. I don't think it was so much because of what I said, it was because I finally found the one woman who cared. The threat that I made to her, she did not tell anybody, but she knew I was serious, and she knew I was hurting, and somebody was finally willing to do their job. So now I've got access to the mental health stuff that I needed, and they got me on some medication, got me on some more counseling.
In your opinion, why do you think it's so difficult for people to get help from the VA?
It's a couple things, really. I mean, as much as I love my brother and sisters in arms, part of the problem is there's a lot of them that will abuse the system.
For what? Medicine? Or?
Whether it be medicines or for disability claims that aren't necessarily merited. So I think that's part of the problem.
I understand that people can abuse the system.
Yeah, absolutely. It happens.
You would think that walking in there and saying, hello, I shot myself in the head, can I please get some help, would be enough for them to realize you're not trying to milk the system.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't?
No, it really wasn't. I'm
not trying to diss the VA. I'm just trying to understand.
That's not what my intentions either.
As a veteran who's experienced PTSD, what do you think that would help the VA help veterans?
Take away to minimize the red tape and the hoops you got to jump through.
So was that, when you started getting the counseling and the medicine and everything, was that the beginning of?
It just had to start over. I played in a band. I meet this woman, and I just dumped all this information on her, like literally in a text message one evening. So I told her, I was like, look, this is the kind of mess I am.
Right.
And she was like, okay. And she was like, oh, that's cool, yeah. And it was like nothing changed. She accepted me, we started dating. I asked her if she would be my date to a buddy's wedding I was in Afghanistan with. And her being the good church girl she is, said, you'll have to put me up in a separate hotel. I quickly told her, don't worry about it, we'll be married by then. We were married before that wedding.
Oh my
I knew when I met her that I was going to marry her. How she treated me, knowing what she knew about me, and not knowing what she didn't know about me. How she still said, what, this guy's a person, and she's seen me for who my qualities were. When she came along beside me, it was more than I deserved. I felt like Yeah, it was, because mind you, I'm only 4 months out of this just rageful lifestyle, and so yeah, it was really more than I felt like I deserved. But that's been my life since. I got a 3-year-old and a 15-month-old, and now, you know, I've also got my son from a previous marriage, and I look at those kids, and there's times where I look at them and I'm like, you know, I don't deserve this either. I was dead, and I should still be dead. One thing that I've learned is just because I did that doesn't mean that's who I am, and it was hurt that it was my wife who showed me that. So I look at my kids now and I'm like, you know what? I may not deserve them, but I deserve them now. You know, and that's what I tell myself.
I relate to that so much because I tried to end my life in 2012. And now I'll hear my kids giggling or running around and laughing, and I'm like, holy crap, I almost missed this.
Yeah, right.
Like, thank God I wasn't successful and that my plan didn't come to fruition.
Yeah.
Because there was a greater plan at work. I think that you deserve everything that you have, and that you were lost, but it's not, you were searching for help and you couldn't find it.
In my experience, I found that there's no magic key, there's no magic answer. The magic answer is just being in community with people. Don't isolate yourself. Just let people know who you are, because as broken as you think you are, or as screwed up as you think you are, there's somebody else that thinks that they're just as screwed up or just as broken. So why we try to hide it from each other so much is crazy. I think it's Facebook that does a lot of this.
Yeah.
The person I was being on Facebook was not the person I was at all. It's what I wanted people to see about me. Why can't we just be who we are, where we are? I might be struggling with depression. Somebody else might be struggling with self-image. Why can't we just let each other in on this? Stop feeling so lonely. So yeah, now I process through it, and I'm like, all right, I can talk about it now. I don't have to be embarrassed or ashamed of it. So now I'm at a point, it's like, all right, what can I do with this to better someone else or better the people around me? So we are in the process of trying to launch a therapeutic farm for veterans, and really in my mind the big thing is veterans or victims with people with PTSD, but I've never really closed the doors to just anybody. We're just people. Everybody's hurt. Everybody needs somebody to come along beside them, and sometimes just somebody knowing sometimes is just all you need.
So if somebody out there is watching this and they're like, oh my gosh, wait, I think I might have PTSD, do you have any suggestions for that person?
You're not alone. Despite what it might have come from, don't discredit it. It has the potential to just ruin your life. And reach out. Grab a hold of somebody. You know, say, hey, look, I'm coming apart at the seams. Because I can tell you, it's far easier to tell somebody that before you come apart at the seams. You know, it's remarkable that the way things played out for me. Why me of all people did I have so many opportunities to experience what I've got now? Who knows?